Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into something I think a lot of us struggle with, achieving that flow state.
Yeah, it can be elusive.
It really can. And we're going to look at how balancing our energies plays a key role. We'll be using the inflow fit method as our guide.
Fascinating read.
It is.
Mm.
And, it's not just about like kale smoothies and hitting the gym, right? This is about finding that alignment within ourselves, like emotionally and energetically.
Right, it's a more holistic approach.
Uh-huh.
It delves into those subtle connections between our emotions, our energy, and ultimately how we show up in the world.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so powerful. And, there's this quote from Lao Tzu that I think perfectly sums it up. Those who flow as life flows know they need no other force.
That's powerful.
Right. So simple, yet so profound.
It really highlights the idea that when we resist life's natural current, through negativity, limiting beliefs, or just being stubborn, we're actually depleting our own energy.
Mm.
Flow, on the other hand, is about surrendering to that current, finding ease and alignment.
It's like trying to swim upstream, right? You're just exhausting yourself. So how does holding on to negativity actually block that flow? Like, how does that work?
Well, you can think of emotions as energy, right? And any form of energy occupies space. So when we cling to guilt or fear or shame, those emotions take up valuable space in our energy field, creating those blockages that prevent us from moving forward.
So it's almost like we're carrying around this heavy backpack full of emotional baggage.
Exactly. And that baggage weighs us down, preventing us from moving freely and effortlessly.
Okay, that makes total sense. But is there any scientific evidence to support this? Is there research on the effects of this emotional baggage?
There actually is. The inflow fit method mentions Elaine Mead's research on rumination, that habit of dwelling on negative thoughts.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that.
Well, Mead found that rumination can have serious consequences. It's been linked to things like overeating, smoking, insomnia, even heart problems. It creates a downward spiral.
Wow, I had no idea it was that impactful. Makes you think twice about those negative thought loops. So how does the inflow fit method guide us towards balancing our energies and achieving that flow state?
Well, the book provides a blueprint, but it all starts with addressing those emotional roadblocks we've been talking about. There are even stories of the author's clients who, despite achieving some initial success, hit a wall because of unaddressed emotional issues.
So it's more than just surface level self-improvement, right? It's about getting to the root of those energetic imbalances.
Exactly. And that's where the blueprint comes in. It's a holistic approach that tackles everything from our diet to our connection with nature to our mindset and how we take care of ourselves.
Okay, I'm ready to break down this blueprint. Let's start with diet. The book emphasizes high vibration foods, but to be honest, that sounds a bit woo-woo to me. What does it actually mean?
Well, it's actually pretty interesting. It's based on research by Dr. Valerie Hunt, who studied the energy fields around different types of food.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating.
It is. And she found that processed foods, like those refined and packaged foods, have a much lower vibrational frequency compared to fresh, whole, organic foods.
So like that feeling of lightness you get after eating a big salad.
That's it. High vibration in action. It's about choosing foods that are closer to their natural state to, in a way, raise our own vibrational frequency.
So I guess my frozen dinners aren't exactly vibrating at the highest frequency, huh?
Let's just say they might be contributing to a bit of an energy slump.
Got it. I'll stick to the fresh stuff. The book also talks about the importance of freshly prepared meals and this idea of food combining. Is that is that as complicated as it sounds?
It doesn't have to be. It's more about optimizing digestion for better energy. You see, some food combinations can actually hinder digestion, slowing down nutrient absorption and leaving us feeling sluggish.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, like eating fruit after a meal, it can cause fermentation in the stomach. And combining protein with starches, that can make you feel really heavy.
Interesting. So it's like strategic meal planning to keep our energy levels stable throughout the day.
Exactly.
Okay, beyond food, the blueprint emphasizes connection and grounding, particularly with nature and sunlight. I'm all for that.
This is where that concept of flowing with life really comes into play. Even just spending a few minutes walking barefoot on the grass or soil, which is known as grounding, can be incredibly calming.
Oh, I love walking barefoot.
It's like reconnecting with the Earth's energy, allowing stress and negativity to discharge.
I always thought it was just the fresh air that made me feel good, but now that you mention it, there's something more to it.
There is. And then there's sunlight, which is obviously crucial for vitamin D, but it also has so many other benefits.
Oh, yeah, for
It
sure.
helps regulate our sleep, reduce stress, and even boost mood. Some even call it nature's antidepressant.
So we should all be striving to be more like plants soak up that sunshine and get grounded in nature. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the blueprint. Emotional detox. Now, this is where things start to get a bit more personal, right?
It does. But it's also where we can unlock a lot of hidden energy. And the first step might surprise you,
Yeah.
being mindful of our media consumption.
Really? How so?
Our brains don't always distinguish between real and imagined experiences, so even the things we watch or listen to can affect our emotional state.
Whoa. Are you telling me all those true crime documentaries I've been binging could be messing with my energy? I never thought about it that way.
It's not about avoiding media entirely, but about being aware of how it affects us. We need to make conscious choices.
Okay, I'm starting to see how everything is connected. Like, from the food we eat to the information we consume, it all impacts our energy.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key aspect of emotional detox: forgiveness. The InflowFit method places a lot of emphasis on forgiving ourselves and others.
Now, forgiveness is tough. I understand why it's important, but letting go of those hurts and resentments is so hard. Where do you even begin?
It's definitely not easy. But the book explains that forgiveness isn't about condoning someone's actions. It's about releasing that negative energy we're holding on to, freeing ourselves from the burden of anger and resentment.
So it's more about self-care than condoning bad behavior.
Exactly. And a surprisingly effective practice the book recommends is gratitude. Simply shifting our focus to what we're thankful for can move our energy from negative to positive, like flipping a switch.
So, ditch the crime dramas, forgive that annoying coworker, and start a gratitude journal.
You got it.
What else does this emotional detox involve? I'm ready to clear out all that energetic clutter. So we've covered diet, connecting with nature, even started on that emotional detox. What else does this blueprint have for us?
Well, no holistic approach would be complete without the mind-body connection, right?
Right.
The InflowFit method talks about practices like yoga and Pilates, helping us cultivate that sense of inner calm and balance.
Yoga and Pilates, the perfect pair for mindful movement. I've tried both, and yeah, you definitely feel more grounded and centered afterwards. But how do those practices tie into achieving flow?
Well, think about it. Both emphasize breath work, being present in your body. They require focus, a bit of challenge, but when you find that sweet spot, you can definitely experience flow. Plus, there are the physical benefits too, like a healthier spine, more flexibility.
Right, it's not just mental and emotional, it's about feeling good physically too. And I'd imagine a healthy spine definitely helps with good energy flow, right?
Absolutely. Speaking of flow, the book mentions a winning routine, though it doesn't really delve into the specifics.
A winning routine. Sounds intriguing. Guess we'll have to read the whole book to find out what that secret formula is. But before we move on, I'd love to explore this idea of flow a bit more. It sounds amazing in theory, but how do we actually cultivate it in our daily lives?
That is the million-dollar question. The book describes flow as that state of complete absorption in an activity, where you're fully immersed in the present moment. Time just seems to melt away.
Okay, yeah.
It's that in-the-zone feeling, performing at your peak, effortlessly.
I get that, but it's so random for me. Sometimes I get lost in a project for hours. Other times I can barely focus for 5 minutes. Is there a way to make flow happen on demand?
That's the exciting part. There are actually specific ingredients, so to speak, that create the perfect conditions for flow. And one of the most important, according to the InflowFit method, is having a clear goal, a sense of purpose, knowing what you want to achieve and feeling passionate about it.
So it's not just about zoning out in front of the TV then. You need intention, engagement.
Exactly. Flow also requires a certain level of challenge and skill. The activity needs to hold your attention, but not be so difficult that it becomes overwhelming. It's finding that balance, where your skills match the demands of the task.
That makes sense. I've felt that frustration when I'm learning something new and it's too hard, and then the boredom when it's too easy. Finding that middle ground is key.
Absolutely. And this is where all the work we've been discussing, the emotional detox, the positive mindset, balanced energy, it all plays a role. When we're weighed down by negative emotions, it's much harder to reach that flow state.
It's like trying to meditate in a noisy room, right? You might get glimpses of peace, but true stillness is hard to find.
Perfect analogy. Clearing out those emotional roadblocks and cultivating a positive, focused mindset, it creates the space for flow to emerge. But there's another ingredient: feedback. The InflowFit method stresses the importance of getting clear, immediate feedback on how you're doing, so you can adjust and stay on track.
So it's not just going through the motions blindly. You have to pay attention to the feedback you're getting, making those course corrections as you go.
Exactly. It's a dance between action and feedback, constantly refining, improving.
Okay, starting to get it. But how do we apply this to everyday tasks that aren't inherently exciting or challenging? It's easy to imagine flow while painting or playing music, but what about like folding laundry or answering emails?
That's a great question, and the inflow fit method tackles it head on. It suggests flow can be found in any activity, even the ordinary repetitive ones. The key is to engage with the task mindfully, being present, focusing on the process, not just the outcome.
So even doing the dishes can be a flow state if you approach it with the right mindset.
Absolutely. Instead of seeing it as a chore, focus on the sensory experience, the warm water, the soapy bubbles, the feel of the dishes, or challenge yourself to do it more efficiently.
I see. It's about shifting our perspective, finding those bits of joy and engagement in the everyday, even the mundane.
Exactly. And the more we practice finding flow in those mundane tasks, the easier it becomes to tap into it in other areas of our lives.
Like building a mental muscle, strengthening our ability to focus and be present.
Yes. And the benefits of cultivating flow, they go beyond just feeling good. The book highlights research showing flow experiences can lead to increased creativity, productivity, and overall well-being.
Wow, so it's not just a nice bonus. It's actually essential for a more fulfilling and successful life. Who knew doing the dishes could be the key to unlocking our potential?
It's all about perspective. And the InflowFit method gives us a framework for shifting that perspective, tapping into the power of flow.
This is so fascinating. I'm already thinking about how I can apply these principles. Maybe turn my commute into a mindfulness practice instead of stressing about traffic, or find flow while cooking dinner tonight.
That's the spirit. It's a journey of self-discovery, experimentation. And remember, the InflowFit method is a guide, but ultimately you have to find what works for you.
Speaking of finding what works, the blueprint also emphasizes a positive mindset, right?
Absolutely. It goes beyond just think positive and gives you concrete strategies to cultivate that positive mindset.
So more than just faking a smile and repeating affirmations.
Right. It's about being mindful of the language we use, avoiding negative words and complaints, focusing on solutions, not dwelling on problems. Like, instead of saying, my life's a disaster, try saying, I'm facing some challenges, but I'm resourceful. I can find solutions.
Okay, so taking control of that self-talk, consciously choosing to focus on the positive.
Exactly. And it's not just about us. The InflowFit method emphasizes holding positive thoughts about others too, cultivating compassion and understanding even for those who are difficult.
That can be tough. But I see how it connects to this whole energy thing. Holding on to anger and resentment towards someone, it just drains your own energy.
Precisely. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, choosing to contribute to a more positive, harmonious energy field.
I like that. A positive energy field. Much better than a toxic one. So we've covered diet, nature, emotional detox, mind-body practices, and now a positive mindset. Anything else this blueprint includes?
The final piece is self-care. The InflowFit method emphasizes making time for activities that bring you joy, replenish your energy.
Self-care. The holy grail of modern living, right? But seriously, it's so easy to let it slip when you're busy, stressed. How do we make it a priority?
It starts with recognizing that self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. We can't pour from an empty cup, even just 30 minutes a day, for something you truly enjoy, reading, a bath, time with loved ones. It makes a world of difference.
I'm realizing this whole blueprint is about creating a life that feels good from the inside out, aligning our actions, our choices with our values and desires.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And when we're living in alignment, taking care of ourselves physically, emotionally, energetically, that's when flow becomes effortless.
This has been an amazing deep dive. We've covered so much, from energy science to mindset to self-care. I feel inspired to take charge of my energy, create more flow in my life. But I have to admit, I'm still a little overwhelmed. Where do we even start? This blueprint is a lot.
It is a lot, but you don't have to tackle everything at once.
Right.
Think of it like climbing a mountain. You don't conquer the whole thing in one go, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
You start with one step, then another. And before you know it, you're at the top, enjoying the view.
I like that analogy. So maybe I could start with that gratitude journal.
That's a great idea.
Or try incorporating those high vibration foods we talked about. Or even just commit to, 5 minutes of grounding every day.
Those are all fantastic starting points. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about making those conscious choices, one step at a time. And as you start experiencing the benefits, feeling more grounded, more energized, more joyful, you'll naturally want to keep going.
It's like creating that positive feedback loop. The more you do it, the better you feel, the more motivated you become.
Exactly. It's a cycle that spirals upwards, leading to more balance, more flow, more fulfillment.
This whole conversation has been so enlightening. I'm leaving with a renewed sense of hope and a whole toolbox of practical strategies.
That's wonderful to hear. And it brings us back to, well, I think one of the most important takeaways from the InflowFit method. It's about recognizing our own power. We have the power to choose our thoughts, the foods we eat, the activities we do, and ultimately the energy we cultivate. We have the power to choose the energy we project into the world.
That's so true. It's empowering to remember we're not just passive bystanders in our own lives. We have choices.
Exactly. And that choice, it has a ripple effect. The energy we embody impacts not just our own well-being, but the well-being of those around us. We're all interconnected. Our energy fields are constantly interacting.
It's like, what's that saying? A rising tide lifts all boats. When we cultivate positive energy, it creates a ripple effect, uplifting not just ourselves, but also our families, our communities, the world.
Beautifully said. And it leads us back to that question we posed earlier. If our emotions are a form of energy, what kind of energy are we putting out into the world? Are we radiating joy, compassion, inspiration? Or are we weighed down by negativity, fear, judgment?
That's such a powerful question. It's a call to awareness, a reminder to take responsibility for the energy we're bringing to every interaction, every situation.
Precisely. And the InflowFit method gives us the tools and insights to make conscious choices about the energy we cultivate. It's a journey of self-discovery, experimentation, and ultimately empowerment.
I'm so inspired to embark on this journey, to start implementing these principles.
That's fantastic.
And thank you so much for guiding us through this incredible deep dive. I know our listeners are going to be buzzing with excitement after hearing these amazing insights.
Me too. And remember, you have the power to create the life you want. Take that first step today. Watch as the ripples of positive change spread out, transforming not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you.
That's a great note to end on. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep flowing.